Another thing with that's really amazing, he had a lot of tyre shake as well on the hit of the throttle there for John Zappia. So there's a little bit of ET there that
shook hard that
potentially
time.
We could see. So the record of that 574 could be knocking on the door here in top door slam. Of course, Zappia finishes off the qualifying session. He will be number 1 with that 576. Gary Phillips is number 2 with that 588. Peter Kapiris is number 3 with the 592. Grant O'Rourke with the 592 as well. Rounding out the top 5, Marty Dack with that 593 for top door slammer. So that was their final qualifying session. Next time we see them out in a couple hours, that'll be round number 1. And I can see, let's have a look here. Big pairings. Gary Phillips will be taking on John Cannulli at the moment, unofficially, of course. Yeah. And Benny Bray and Stewie Bishop as well there in the 8 and 9 spots. That'll be a big matchup as well. So yes. I can't wait for first round of racing in top door slammer. Next up, though, we've got qualifying session number 2 for Pro Stock Bike.
And these are the, well, they're equivalent to the cars on 2 wheels. And Morris Allen been doing this for a long, long time, has more Milwaukee Power Tools on board. The Suzuki is out to 1,655 cc's. Scott White in beside. He comes from Rosebery in the Northern Territory. Superbike Performance, the Suzuki, only a little fella, 1,570 cc's.
Morris Allen's currently number 1 in Pro Stock Bike. Tell you what, it looks like he was left on the line though. This is only qualifying though. Session number 2, 7:38 for Scott White. Morris Allen, he improves. He goes 7:31. He is still number 1 qualifier. Scott White goes to number 2. And Morris Allen, 7:31, 181 miles an hour there. Big, big speed there for the pro bike of the Milwaukee Tools team as well.
That's spooky, isn't it?
Both riders are going 181 miles an hour. So it's about 300 kilometres per hour there on those bikes.
Hard to get your head around how fast those things are really going.
Yeah, have a look at the braking area there. You can see the lean that Morris Allen gets. They're just trying to keep it all steady as they're on the applying the brakes there from 300 kilometres an hour.
Yeah, these guys run a real drag slick. So Luke Crowley coming out next on his own. The Tinworks Suzuki. That is surprising. They're all Suzukis. This one's bigger, 1,755 cc's. They're just amazing, the capacity that they can get out of these bike engines. Out of Bundamba, the window tinter. Yeah,
the local boy, Luke Crowley. He started his racing career off here at the Winternationals back in 1994. He raced Junior Dragster here. The first ever event for Junior Dragster here at Willowbank Raceway. Yeah. And he's one of the ex-junior drag racers that have gone the less conventional route of going to a bike.
Yeah, getting on the 2 wheels, and probably thought it was going to be less expensive. Was he in for a shock?
That's it. And this bike is potentially, it could be the first ever bike to run a 6-second pass in Australia. That's one of the big barriers that still hasn't been broken here in Australian drag racing. The first 6-second pass for a pro stock motorcycle. Can Luke Crowley do it? I know the bike engine has run 680s in the States.
Okay, so it's a tough combination. Whoa!
Tell you what, the 7:31 is the time to beat for Luke Crowley at the moment to be number 1 qualifier. He goes across the finish line on his bike, goes 7:28. He is now the number 1 qualifier in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Looking on the big screen there, you can see him trying to slow that bike down. They don't have a parachute, so at 300 kilometres per hour, those bikes are always fun to pull up.
Certainly are. Wow. That was pretty good. And we're looking at a turnaround. Look at Gary Phillips. He's going to come back out now in top alcohol. Yeah, very shortly.
Very shortly, yes.
We've still got the bikes to go. We've got some bikes to go. We're not finished yet. But I'm just looking at the list, and I'm looking at how busy have you got to be to run 2 configurated cars and try and get it all together and keep it together. Anthony Hinkley out of St Mary's in New South Wales, sponsored by PC Cranes, Buell-powered.
And it looks like he's lost power there on the PC Cranes Buell down there, so we might not see Hinkley out in this qualifying session number 2 and Ben down on the start line.
Yeah, down here now, this is heartbreak. That is the second attempt for Tony Hinkley to get off the line. This guy from Western Australia. This is a whole new operation by virtue of the fact that this is a Jason Grimer Motorsports project to get that bike out. It was purchased quite a long time ago, then finally bought out. Of course, that's the bike that came to grief at Calder Raceway. He fell off the bike in their first attempt, and the bike barrel rolled down the racetrack. They've come out, they've rebuilt the bike, but something just ain't right. One more opportunity for those guys to come back and actually make it into the field with a run coming up later this afternoon.
Thanks, Penny. That was great, mate. Thank you for staying right on it there on the start line. We're keeping you busy for a change.
All right, now we've got the next pairing out of Phil Howard taking Alberto Marx.
Now, Phil Howard's ridden every type of motorbike you can think of. Has been doing it for a long time. Comes out of South Australia. Watching him up in the pits there, the man is so methodical. The way he goes through the procedures on this motorbike, it's quite incredible. Superbike performance, 1,664 cc's. Up against Alberto Marquez, or Marquez.
And Alberto's off the bike as well. It's a bit of a curse over there in the Rocket Industries lane at the moment for the pro bike riders. But Phil Howard, he'll make his first pass down here at the Fuchs Winternationals in the second qualifying session here at Pro Stock Motorcycle. 7:28 is the time to beat at the moment. There's #1 qualifier, Luke Crowley. These guys will have another qualifying session later on as well. And we see Phil Howard get off the start line very strong here on his Pro Stock motorcycle. He goes through the finish line with a 7:69, 134 miles an hour. He rolled off the throttle there just before the around 1,000 foot, and so he washed off a couple tenths, so potentially go a little bit quicker in the final qualifying session here.
Yeah, and Phil never been one to play all his cards until it really mattered, so you just never know where he's going to be.
And hopefully we see Alberto Marx get out here as well to get into the qualifying field for Pro Stock motorcycle.
Yeah, it is so frustrating when you put all that effort and time in and you can't get your vehicle down the track, irrespective of whether it's 4 or 6.
And that'll bring a close to Pro Stock motorcycles so far. We've got 4 of those bikes down the track, still a couple of them to yet to face the Christmas tree due to a couple little hiccups. But Luke Crowley, we'll do a little recap here. Luke Crowley is #1 at the moment. That's 7:28. Morris Allen is #2 with a 7:31. Scott Wright is in at #3 with that 7:38. And Phil Howard is #4 with that 7:69.